Worse than Katrina, it appears that we just witnessed the most costly natural disaster in U.S. history by a wide margin. This is by Michael Schneider on the Economic Collapse blog. I don't know if I have the words to describe what we have just seen. Summer just ended, and within a week we have already witnessed the most costly natural disaster in the entire history of the United States. There are some areas along the west coast of Florida that have literally been destroyed. Some have compared the devastation to the dropping of an atomic bomb. That's not an exaggeration at all. The state of Florida has never experienced a storm quite like this before, and recovery is going to be measured in years. When Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in 2005, it was a Category 3 storm. This was a Category 4, almost a Category 5, by just a mere 2 miles an hour. Hurricane Ian had maximum sustained wind speeds of 155 miles an hour, and that put it just 2 miles an hour short of being a Category 5 storm. But the high winds were not what made Ian so terrible. What made Ian so terrible was the storm surge. Giant walls of water picked up cars, boats, telephone poles, and palm trees, tossing them around like toys. According to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, what we just witnessed was a 500-year flooding event. Florida Governor DeSantis said the storm caused a 500-year flooding event and said Coast Guard helicopters were plucking trapped residents from the roofs of homes. Communities across the state were or will be swamped by the overwhelming waters, he said. DeSantis said the impacts of the storm are historic and the damage that has been done is historic. We've never seen a flood event like this. We've never seen a storm surge of this magnitude, he said. This storm greatly strengthened right before it made landfall, and a lot of people were caught off guard by that. It was already too late when many finally realized that they should have evacuated, and it appeared that there was a substantial loss of life as a result. Quote, this could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history, and quote, Biden said after a briefing at FEMA Emergency Management Headquarters in Washington. He said the numbers are still unclear, but we're hearing reports of what may be substantial loss of life. In fact, Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marceno said that the fatalities are in the hundreds. This is a life-changing event for all of us, Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marceno told Good Morning America. He added, I don't have confirmed numbers. I definitely know the fatalities are in the hundreds. So far, confirmed in the hundreds, he said, noting that conditions were too dire for his officers and other rescuers to get a true sense of the disaster. Was he referring to just his county or the state as a whole? Someone should ask him that question. This is truly a historic tragedy, but some have decided that all of this chaos makes it the perfect time for a crime spree, and amid the chaos of Hurricane Ian, looting and other crimes were committed in Lee County. In coordination with Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marceno, County Commission, city managers, and city councils, Desjardins announced 6 p.m. curfew for Lee County, which will be in place until further notice. Desjardins said, to be sure, and I feel safe relaying this on behalf of law enforcement, there's going to be a zero-tolerance policy for looting and violence in this town, he said. I suppose that we should not be surprised that looting is happening. Every time there is some sort of a major disaster, this is what some of us do, and it truly is disgusting. This is a time when everybody should be pulling together. According to one estimate, the economic damage from this storm could be somewhere in the neighborhood of $260 billion. Experts expect the damages to cost up to $260 billion, though the cleanup efforts are currently unable to get underway as swaths of Florida remain underwater. Prior to Hurricane Ian, the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history was Hurricane Katrina. According to the GAO, Katrina caused $170 billion in damage. Hurricanes Katrina, Sandy, Harvey, and Irma, selected hurricanes, caused costly damages and challenges for some populations in affected communities. In these communities, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, estimated the cost of damages to be approximately $170 billion for Katrina, $74 billion for Sandy, 131 billion for Harvey, and 52 billion for Irma. These estimates include the value of damages to residential, commercial, and government or municipal buildings, material assets within the buildings, business interruption, vehicles and boats, offshore energy platforms, public infrastructure, and agricultural assets. At this point, it appears that Katrina has been knocked out of the top spot. Right at the end of September 2022, we have witnessed the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history by a wide margin, and Ian is not done yet. And as I write this article, the city of Charleston is bracing for a direct hit very early on Friday morning today. Charleston is bracing for a direct hit from Hurricane Ian, with storm surges of up to 7 feet as it hurtles towards the historic city after barreling through Florida, leaving swaths of the state decimated and at least 13 victims. Monster Tempest Ian has recharged from a tropical storm back to a Category 1 hurricane as it angles northward towards South Carolina to pummel the state Friday morning, as well as neighboring North Carolina and Georgia. Landfall in Charleston is expected around 8 a.m. Friday, with the surrounding states also being issued with several extreme weather warnings. When the damage to Charleston is factored in, the total economic damage from this storm could easily surpass $300 billion. This is not something that we're going to be able to bounce back from easily. For years, I've been warning that unprecedented natural disasters would be heading our way, and now it's happening right in front of our eyes. The summer is over, the fall is here, and winter is coming. We've been through so much already, but the rest of 2022 is inevitably going to have even more surprises for us. And it's finally here, Michael's new book entitled 7-Year Apocalypse, now available on paperback and Amazon. And this is by Michael Schneider. He says, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled 7-Year Apocalypse is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I have written 5 other books that are available on Amazon, including Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, Getting Prepared Now, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending digital copies as gifts through Amazon to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and The Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is a great help. These are such troubling times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. Quote, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." End quote. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to ask Jesus to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Schneider on Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.